Hi guys, this is Maggie from Digital Nomad, and this is our next video from the series on how to become a digital nomad, the freedom chaser. In this video, I'm going to summarize what you should pack on your house sitting when you're house sitting or when you're traveling and working, and what to leave behind because you don't want to go ahead and treat everything as necessity because you will need to carry it with you unless you are ready to leave it behind because um, there's no point packing things that you won't need necessarily, and we tend to think that anything will be needed because we don't know what kind of things we actually physically need with us or we can leave behind but still can have access to these things, like for example some of the information, some of the documents, and so on. So this video has got a goal of summarizing the things that you really don't need or that you should need, and basically leave other things behind because otherwise the bags will be heavy and the struggle is actually real, and it can definitely affect the whole experience. If you will be moving from place to place, you will definitely treasure lighter bags and you will despise the thought of packing, unpacking everything and carrying the bags with you. Sorry. So I've got a list of the things that you will definitely need to take with you. Obviously, documents, the most important documents, passport. Even if you are not traveling abroad, you will need the passport. You will be surprised how many times you will have to send a photo of your passport, photo of your, the passport pages, the photo page of your passport. I had to do it almost on a daily basis when I was applying for, for new jobs and so on, new house sitting jobs, and when I was filling out some kind of applications online, that was almost on a daily basis. So there's no point leaving it behind. You can also take a photo, good photo with you and care and start in your computer. Good tip is also, but I found it more useful while I was abroad in Thailand and in Malaysia, to have a copy of your passport, few copies of your passport, because you often have to show them to people. They want to see your passport. There's no point for you to carry the passport with you every time you go out the door. So what I do, I carry the copy of my passport in my wallet. Obviously, this is another copy because the first one, it just was worn out from so much use. So, but sometimes you have to leave them behind, especially if you're abroad, especially if you're in countries like Asia, because I did not have this kind of occurrence in England. But yeah, in Asia, definitely you need to have few copies ready. So if you make a copy of your passport, do at least 10 copies with you. Bank statements. You definitely will need bank statements. Most recent, I would say 3-4 months bank statements. You might want to share the copy of them when you're applying for jobs, when you're applying for example, for when you will be applying for the house contract, or you will be filling up the house contract and so on. Some agencies abroad might ask. Luckily, none of them asked me here in Asia, but obviously some of them will, and you might need this information, and there's no point leaving these behind with at home. The reviews, if you can get feedback, like personal feedback, professional feedback from your past employer, from your friend, from your very close relative, that would be useful as well. That was covered in one of the previous videos when I mentioned getting feedback, getting reviews for your trusted house sitters, profile, but apart from just house sitters, even if you won't be house sitting, definitely will be useful to have some of these with you, printed, signed, and digital copy on your computer as well. Police check, yeah, do that. I covered in previous videos, so I'm not going to go into detail on how to obtain it, but it will be useful. Wellies, now that I found absolutely necessary when I was house sitting. It's worth mentioning that I was house sitting throughout the winter. It was one of the wettest years in human history. In United Kingdom, for 10 months there was a mud almost everywhere. It goes with the territory because I suppose I was always house sitting in this kind of country settings, in country environment, and I had to walk the dogs. But I think I get accustomed to every type of mud present in United Kingdom. So yeah, I will never forget it. The 1 year of mud, yeah, the wellies were absolutely necessary. The waterproof clothing, something that washes easily, waterproof trousers, waterproof jackets. If you will fall into mud and you don't want to mess up your nice clothes, because I promise you, if you will be house sitting, if you will be walking the dogs, the mud will be your friend. Okay, change of clothes. Obviously, it is connected to the previous point. Your clothes will get dirty very quickly if you will be walking the dogs. If you are house sitting in a rural area, but even in when I was housing in London, I had to walk the dogs in the rain in the park, so obviously it can get muddy as well. Bring the shoes that don't need a lot of maintenance, that are dark, that won't be stained by the dog stepping on them and something like that. If you won't be wearing wellies. So change of clothes, obviously the warm sweaters if you will be house sitting in England during winter, or any time that is not a summer, and probably hats, gloves, scarves that also will be needed. What I found really useful was to have a onesie, because one of my first house sitting assignments was in the house that was extremely cold. At least that was my first impression. It was just because the guy was leaving, and he left the like the windows open. There was no heating, so I had an impression that the house is cold. But obviously the guys don't need that much heat. So when I put the heating on, it got warmed up, I think within 24 hours. But I went out quickly because I hate being cold. I went out quickly and bought a onesie, so it's like this kind of zipped one-piece trousers and top with the hood. And the hood was also fantastic because I often lose the heat through my neck, so even when I'm at home, I put a hood on. I used to put the hood on and put a scarf around me because I really hated being cold. That's why I moved to Asia. But this onesie, because it was one piece, it was holding the heat inside of it, so you did not have the heat escaping through the crack between the trousers and the top, if it makes sense. It definitely made a difference, although it was quite a thin material. It definitely made a difference in keeping me warm, so I do recommend getting a onesie if you want to keep warm. Camera. Bring a camera with you. You will be surprised how many photo opportunities you will have. You will want to share a photo where you're staying with your family. That's what I was doing. I was always taking photo of new place, sharing with my family, sharing with my parents, because they were curious where I was staying. Obviously, they were very concerned where I'm staying, what are the people. We were usually just exchanging on hello, goodbye, because obviously they were living on their holiday. Sometimes I didn't even meet the owners. On a few occasions, I just moved in and moved out without the owners present. So, but yeah, the environment is important. Obviously, hiking boots. Apart from Wellies, you would need hiking boots if you will be staying in a nice area, like I did in Scotland. There was so many beautiful hiking trails around it, and I was hiking quite often at the beginning, and I went to Edinburgh as well. That was really nice, and yeah, sometimes you will be able to get the shoes from your owners, but nobody says that you will get the same shoe size, so it's worth bringing your own hiking boots with you. They take a lot of space, they will take a lot of space in your bag, but you will really thank yourself later because you don't want to miss on the opportunities if you are going to the new location. Obviously, if you like hiking, if you don't like it, you know, don't really worry about this one. But if you want to explore the area, they will be useful because wellies won't work on hiking trails. Obviously, wellies are just waterproof, mudproof, and so on, but they can be very slippery when walking on rocks, on wet grass, and so on. Yeah. Gloves and hats, so I covered in before. Going out attire, obviously you don't want to be, you don't want to treat this time as only the time that you will be, covered in mud and doing nothing, but you will want to go to the restaurant, you will want to go to the cafe, maybe you will have a chance to meet some of the neighbors. They will invite you over, or some of the friends of that family that you're staying in. You want to look good and so on. So yeah, going out outfit, at least one or two will be useful. Snuggle attire. So definitely will something that I mentioned before, this onesie, because when you will be working at home, I think maybe that's very important to me because I just like being warm, like hyper warm. I just hate anything that comes close to cold. I don't like temperatures that are below 26 degrees centigrade or lower, and I'm just obsessed about being warm. That's why having warm clothes with me are like the most important thing right after breathing. Recipe book. If you like cooking, you don't want to be going out all the time paying for meals in a restaurant or ordering ready-made food. You will be sick of it after a while. So if you have favorite meals, you can obviously look them up on internet, or you can write them down in your recipe book. I always travel with my recipe book everywhere. Um, I always like collect this kind of quick recipes that have got only a few ingredients that are ready within 20 minutes and they are tasty. I'm a cook, but I'm lazy cook, but I like to cook. And I'm a good cook, but I'm lazy cook, so I like simplifying my life. Um, so recipe book is useful. Sometimes there will be no internet, sometimes there is no Wi-Fi. I know it's like still that happens. It always surprises me, and then I catch myself that damn how much I depend on Wi-Fi. But yeah, if the Wi-Fi isn't there and all your recipes are online on your computer, you're stuck. You cannot cook. So we still have to, there are situations where you have to go these kind of old-fashioned ways of writing things down on piece of paper or in a book. Also, any health recipes, not recipes, like health-related medications that you take on a regular basis. You need to take a um, good few months of supplies of the medications, or contact lenses, or contact lens. Um, do contact lens check or do glasses check if you wear contact lenses. For me, it was mainly the contact lens was my main concern because I wear monthly contact lenses. So before going house sitting, I went the um, to the eye doctor and um, did my contact lens check and eye check, and bought, I think, 7 months supply of contact lenses, which they lasted me for a much longer time because Although it says some of the contact lenses, it says you can use them for 30 days or for 30 wears. I found that you can wear some of them for 2 months or 2.5 months, which I'm sure the eye doctors listening to it are like totally shocked, but still fine. And so I can recommend it personally. I can recommend it. Nothing happens. Nothing happens with my eyesight. I can honestly say that my eyesight is actually going better. So my eye problem is actually reversing, which I absolutely love. So yeah, if you take any medications, if you are on any kind of medical support, take at least 3-4 months supply with you. Actually, I didn't have to take so many months supply of contact lens because it was quite a big investment for me at that time, and I found that this kind of things can be sorted out at any eye doctor store all over UK, obviously, and here in Asia, that's not a problem as well. Contact lenses are even cheaper than in England, and they work equally good. I would even say they are better quality. And I think that's about it. If you want to be sure, also go for a general health check before going out. Nothing says that you cannot do that. Take your blood pressure check. Take your general health check, maybe like urine check, and so on. So you know that you are healthy and that nothing really happened. That you can, travel to any kind of altitudes if you're traveling abroad. If you're traveling to places like South America, maybe to like Peru, that is located quite high in the mountains. Some people really they are affected by this kind of change of altitude, so make sure that you are prepared. Obviously, if you're traveling to tropical place, that it goes without saying you have to get the appropriate vaccines in your local travel medical center. So if you are not sure, Google travel medical center and your city or your town or your county. If you live in a small town, and just call them and tell them what areas you plan to travel to, where you plan to travel to, what other areas do you plan to visit, what other countries. They will tell you what kind of vaccines to take. The regular ones, the standard ones, whenever you go, are obviously Hep A and Hep B. Some of them are free from your local surgery. Obviously, this was based on the UK Health Centre. I think the hepatitis A is free. On NHS, hepatitis B is obviously premium, taken from the medical centre. Those two are important because they take care of your stomach. If you will be going somewhere, you don't want to get any stomach upset from eating foreign foods, especially the beginning, because it will be different kind of foods where we are not used to anything like that. I never had any problem. I think the only first time when I went to Rio about 7 years ago, it was the first time that I went abroad, like very, very first time I had a stomach upset one day, and it never happened after that. And I've eaten in really dodgy places. I mean, sometimes I've seen cockroaches and rats running through the on the um, on the floors of the eateries that I was eating in. I've seen rats, eating the meat, like raw meat, in the markets, and unfortunately, it is revolting. But you have to have the right attitude towards. You have to believe that everything will be fine, but obviously cover yourself. When it comes to this kind of any kind of travel bags. Rabies, yeah, get checked for that. Rabies, probably yellow fever is one of the common ones, especially if you go to South America. Other common ones, malaria, although I think it happens here in Asia, but unless you are traveling to deep jungle, you go on a jungle trek, probably you won't be needing anti-malaria. treatment because it's very expensive. But do definitely check with your travel agency. You might have this kind of attitude first when you look into when you look into those jobs that you need to be covered for almost everything. But the travel clinic will actually advise you, and you will be pleasantly surprised that you will need less than you originally thought that you might need. So I hope you found it useful. If there's anything that I didn't cover and you would like, if you have any questions that you would like to have answered, please leave them in the comments below. Please like this video, please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.